Vikings versus Seahawks, GMG in the Raw.
Dave here from Good Morning Gallahorn. This is GMG in the Raw after the Vikings versus the Seahawks, and what a game that was. I'm sure many of you have opinions on it, because I know many of us here do as well. But first, let me introduce to you, to my viewers right, Mr. Ted Glover. How you doing tonight,
hi, everybody.
Ted?
Boys, if I was any better, I'd be against the law. Let's light this candle. Let's go.
And to my viewers right bottom, I have the base ripper, the one and only, Mr. Drewster. Drew, how are you doing this lovely evening out on the West Coast?
Son of a bitch. Fucking Vikings, man. Vikings. 94% chance to win at the 6-yard line. And
98.7% chance per ESPN.
I am so fucking sick of losing games like this. I really am.
And below me, the star of this season on In the Raw, the wonderful, the magnificent, Flip Mazzy. How you doing, Flip?
David, you're a gentleman and a scholar, but you can't ask 3 Vikings fans how they're doing to kick off this show. Let's just get to the takes right now.
Hey, all right. Who wants to start? Raise your hand. Okay, I'll start. All right. With that,
well, here we go.
The Vikings came out
Let's hear about the fabulous game Zimmer called.
Hey, they came out and played the best they ever had, especially for the first half. Then we go into halftime. Then we go into halftime and supposedly make halftime adjustments. But did we? They were the wrong adjustments. How can you come out and let the Seattle score 3 times in like 8 minutes in the third quarter? Are you kidding me, Mike? This is absolutely crazy. All right, you got.
I have an answer for I have an answer for the scores.
Okay, let's see.
Kirk Cousins loses more balls than husbands that get married, boys. I'm telling you, it was. I will say, okay, 2 things happen in the second half to start things off. The Dalvin Cook injury just completely deflated this football team for a period of time. You double that, or you compound that problem with the Kirk Cousins. It was a fumble, then an interception that led to 2 quick Seattle scores. And it just sort of felt like, here we go. I will say the Vikings seemed to recover, had a couple of really good drives, took the lead, but then you put the game in the hands of your vaunted Mike Zimmer defense, and what happened?
It's a great question. It
was a rhetorical question because we all know what happened. They lost the friggin' game.
I don't know what I missed some shit. I'm sure it was all accurate because that was fucking terrible ass second half.
Go up. Elaborate there, Flip.
Well,
first off, what are you drinking? Is that whiskey?
I'm drinking whiskey. I always drink whiskey. I don't care whether we win or lose. I'm drinking whiskey, especially when I got my mad Ted Glover on the line. I gotta be the best version of myself, unlike the Vikings. Okay, you can't start the second half on offense that way. You can't. You can't go 3 drives with a fumble and an interception and -6 yards gained in the third quarter. That's unacceptable. Number 2, what do I say every fucking week on this podcast? I say big-time players in big-time plays in big-time situations, okay? You just score a touchdown, you need a 2-point conversion, and your play call is a quarterback sneak? Are you kidding me? You need a 4th down conversion.
Now
and you
the quarterback sneak was on a 4th and 1, and they got that. They did do a quarterback sneak for a 2-point conversion.
2-point conversion. They call it a quarterback draw.
A draw. No, that's different from a sneak.
Right.
And if he was anywhere mobile, there was a little room there, but
that's the
my
point,
grandmother
David.
playing linebacker could have seen it. Is the problem?
No, that's the point. Is you don't trust your immobile quarterback to make a mobile quarterback play when the game is on the line.
Yeah.
That you gotta go to Adam Thielen. You gotta go to Justin Jefferson. You gotta go to Irv Smith Jr. if he's having a game. You go to your best players in the most important situations. And the Vikings don't do that. They're calling fade routes to CJ Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's 4th down. The game is on the line, and you're trusting your worst player on offense and your backup running back to pick up that 1st down. No, run it to the left or throw the ball to Thielen on a curl route. Don't run it behind Drew Samia, who's responsible for 50% of your penalties when the game is on the line. Trust your best players, not your worst players. That's what pisses me off about this loss.
Drew, it's your turn.
Fuck. You know what? I'm so fucking sick of seeing they make the absolute dumbest fucking mistake. All you got to do on that 4th and 1, and I'm not saying kick the field goal. I'm glad they went for it. Listen how fucking simple this is. All you do is run CJ Ham on a fake dive and then pitch it wide to Madison. That's all you got to do. The game's over. That's all you got to do. Run that play. The game's fucking over.
I would argue even a sneak with Kirk Cousins at that point would have probably worked better.
You fake it. You get that in the I formation. You fake it to Ham that draws everybody in. You flip it to Madison. He's at least going to get you the 1st down, if not walk into the fucking end zone. Walk into the fucking end zone and win the game. Win the game. But you do the stupidest fucking thing you can possibly do. Run in the middle behind the fucking worst guard on your team.
Do we agree?
And you know what? The moment that happened and we missed it, I knew Russell Wilson was going to stick it in our bong, man. I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Do we all agree?
Terrible.
Do we all agree that the Vikings should have gone for it on 4th down? We're just disagreeing with the call.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's
okay.
what's
Good.
frustrating. It's like, definitely we should go for it. But this is like a huge moment. This is a huge moment, and we're walking in the huddle, and we're pounding Drew Samia on the chest. We're like, yeah, you're the guy who's going to get this done. Are you kidding me?
I know. And they went off of him instead of the left side.
I know you guys have seen the play. It's a quick flip to the tailback.
It would have worked. It would have worked.
Oh, he could have moonwalked into the fucking end zone. He could have moonwalked in.
If Dalvin Cook's in the game, it would have worked. If Pat Elflein was healthy, it would have worked. Game is over. Game is over.
If they'd have gone to the left. It
would have worked.
You know what?
How stupid?
This guy's been sucking ass. Let's not trust him anymore. It's really that simple.
And Drew Samia sucked all night.
Our entire offensive line is a diversionary offensive line. They're good when the defense doesn't know when they're running or they're passing. But the second you say, hey, this is a pass play, you got a pass block, they suck. The second you say This is a run play, and the defense knows it's coming. They suck. So if you're not doing that unpredictable diversionary shit, you can't trust this offensive line.
No. Either way, you got to get to the perimeter, Flip, on that 4th and 1. You got to run it wide. You have to. You cannot run.
You may have made it running it inside to the left.
Only way you're not going to make it is if you run to the middle. If you run to the perimeter, Seattle sold out in the middle. They sold out for all of it.
How about you throw the ball to Kyle Rudolph or Justin Jefferson or Adam Thielen or any of those guys on just
quick play action, option pass.
Play action,
that would have worked. Or go down the line, and if you had guys a receiver, if not, pitch out.
Let's run it behind 73.
How in the hell do you give up a 40-yard pass on 4th and 10? How the fuck do you do that? Come on, dude. Come on.
That happens. That's Russell Wilson.
You can't give up. You cannot give that up on 4th and 10. You can't.
You guys are killing me. You're killing me. I love it. I'm so glad to be back. I love it.
Come on, Dantzler. Hey. Come on, Tiny Dantzler. Work with me a little bit. Work with me. You can't give that up. You can't. You got to keep him in front of you and play off the ball. You can't give that up, dude.
By the way,
but you know what? It's the Vikings. I expected it. I fucking expected it. It's the Vikings.
As soon as Dalvin Cook pulled up lame with his groin, I thought this is a game changer. I will say the Vikings had those 2 touchdown drives in the second half that I think were both ended in Thielen touchdown receptions.
Madison had a hell of a Madison showed up.
And
Madison picked up the slack.
One of them was like a 97-yard drive, I think it was.
Oh,
amazing! Incredible.
I thought, well, okay, maybe this is like a turning point here in the early part of this season. I kind of thought that would. I mean, because it seemed like the bad juju that had happened up until this point, and there was plenty of it. Don't get me wrong, was maybe kind of getting put in the rearview mirror because we all said, hey, look, the offense is going to have to carry this defense, and the defense seemed to be maturing a little bit until the last drive.
Well,
when Russell Wilson went 96 yards with like a minute and a half.
Hey, when they got down to the 6-yard line and it was 4th and 1. They had Seattle standing there all rain-soaked like a boxer against the ropes with his hands down, waiting for us to fucking crunch him with the ending left hook. We had it right there in our hand. They were waiting to be killed.
I haven't looked at the advanced stats. I promise you 75% of Madison's yards came on going to the left side. I promise you. Just looking at
how the fuck do you make that call on 4th down? The game is right there. You got it. You got the game. Make it. Oh, you got it.
Your players have fought so hard.
We've got quite a few people watching and quite a few making comments. This one I want to highlight from Mark Brent. Mark Brent says, this is killing me. Go Hawks. Sorry, Vikes. You deserve to win this game, but Russ is inflappable. Yeah.
Okay, next comment.
About Mark Brent.
Nobody cares about Mark Brent.
Let me ask this question. How much time was left when Seattle took over on their 6 before they went on that game-winning drive?
I think it was 1 minute and 30 seconds or something.
No,
and they had
1:37 or something like that. I know it was more.
Okay, so like under a minute and 40, and they had like one timeout.
One timeout.
And they needed to score a touchdown, and they had to go 94 yards, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we get them to 4th down every time.
Did anyone think Russell Wilson? Two questions. Did anybody think Russell Wilson would not finish this drive, and did anybody think Kirk Cousins could have finished this drive?
No, and no.
No, that's why you have to go for it on 4th down there. because if you're up 8, you still think Russell Wilson is going to drive down and score on you. So the Vikings got close. That 4th down and 10 is really tough on Cameron Dantzler, and that's the guy where he's progressed so much so early in his career, but that's just a really tough spot. Hopefully he makes that play in November or December, but that's still just asking too much of the young kid there. And out of a defense that played so well, but the offense, again, I mean, the defense pitched a shutout in the first half. The offense puts him in a bad situation after the fumble, puts him in a bad situation after the interception, and then all of a sudden you're asking this defense to work a miracle against the best quarterback in the NFL. It's you knew they were going to score when we didn't. You knew they were going to score when we didn't pick up that 4th down. You knew it, and that's why we're so upset about it.
The defense played way well enough the whole game to win this game. The defense played out of their minds to win this game.
They absolutely did not.
Yeah. The only time Seattle got any momentum in this game was our offense fucking it up and putting the defense back on their heels.
Give that defense a Kirk Cousins who's not going to just like nonchalantly throw a jump pass to the other team, and maybe we can play with them. But like those turnovers are unacceptable.
Right. I agree.
All they had to do was not give up 94 yards in a minute and a half with 1 timeout. That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do.
Ted, let me ask you a question.
Ted.
Let's say you're giving Russell Wilson the ball 10 different times. He's got the ball with 1 minute 42 seconds left. He's got to go 94 yards, and he needs a touchdown. Out of those 10 tries, how many tries is he scoring a touchdown?
9
against our defense.
9
against this defense.
Yeah,
the current Minnesota Vikings defense as situated today.
Yeah,
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. So don't ask a defense to do what you don't think they can do when you know they're not capable of stopping Russell Wilson for 4 quarters. So why are we asking them to do that?
Russell Wilson should have never got his hands on the ball again. That's the bottom line.
You're right.
If we would have scored,
Drew's right.
One, if we would
Drew's
have scored,
right. As much as Eddie Van Halen hits a lead interruption, Drew is right. Eddie should have never. Russell Wilson should have never gotten another chance. That game should have been over. With us on offense, it should have been over.
Out of 10 tries, you give Russell Wilson the ball on the opponent's 25-yard line after an interception. How many of those drives is he converting into a touchdown?
Probably a lot of them.
I'm sorry, Flip. Well, you were breaking up. What was the question?
If we would have gone and scored, we made it on that 4th and 1 and say scored, Drew ran his office, we pitched outside, Madison walked in, we're up by 8. It doesn't matter at that point.
We didn't. All we needed to do is get a first down. We could have took a knee. If we got a first down, we could have taken. He didn't even have to score. He could have got 2 yards, and the game's fucking over. You take a knee, they have 1 timeout. It's over.
I'm talking about the interception too. How many times you give Russell Wilson the ball on the opponent's 29-yard line? It's right after an interception. He's got the ball on the opponent's 20. How many times is he scoring a touchdown on that drive?
11 times out of 4.
Let's just do a simple show of hands. When Madison didn't make it, who thought Russell Wilson was going to drive the field and score a touchdown? Who thought? Show of hands. There we go. That's why you run a better play on 4th down. That's why you guarantee you get the first down. That's why you put the game on ice. That's why you don't run that fucking play. Because you're giving them a chance to get back on the field with that horrendous play. That play was shit. That play was horrendous. That play was fucked up. You don't run it.
On the flip side, boys, we are still very much in the running for Tank for Trevor.
Yeah, or lose for Lance. More likely.
Oh, the Vikings had to win this game. They played too good to lose this game. They played great the first half. The defense played great. This is the fuck.
Gypped for Justin Fields. Here we go.
Fail for Fields.
Fail for Fields.
Anything to just get this disaster of a quarterback off of my team, man. I can't do it anymore.
Speaking of which, San Francisco today, Garoppolo played so badly that they yanked him. If I was Spielman today, I'd be making calls to San Francisco and I'd be making calls to Dallas. Unfortunately, Dallas.
Well, it's not happening this year. It's not happening this year.
I'd rather have it happen right. I'd have it happen tomorrow, Monday morning. I'd celebrate.
Nobody wants Cousins, dude. They don't.
David, you couldn't give Kirk Cousins away with a prime with a side of prime rib, brother. You couldn't. You can't give Kirk Cousins away right now.
It's the first thing you do after you fire Mike Zimmer if you really want Kirk Cousins gone. If we want to go down that route. But we're 1-4, boys. We're 1-4. I think there's a lot of people who feel like we got a good moral victory tonight.
No, you didn't.
No, yes, I know.
The defense played better. Yes, the offense played better for the most part. They spread the ball around. There were some good things that happened. But we're 1-4. Next week we may be 2-4. But it's still at 1-4. What's our odds of getting to the playoffs? Next up,
Dave,
right?
2%.
Hey, Dave.
The season's
I want
over.
you to stop with that. I want you to stop with that word. Please stop.
Playoffs.
From now on, stop with the. We're not going to the playoffs. All right, please stop.
We have.
Stop.
But I'd rather go to the playoffs than finish.
We're not going to the playoffs.
4, 5, and 6, and whatever, and then
so we're going 4, 5, and 6, and whatever because we're not going to the playoffs,
and still having our current regime.
No, the regime. My personal opinion, if we don't go to the P word, because Drew said I can't say that word anymore. If we don't go to the P word, then everybody has got to go.
Everybody.
Right, so
Spielman, Zimmer, coaches,
Spielman,
everybody.
Zimmer, Cousins, gone.
So the Vikings are 1-4 now, correct?
Yes.
So when they were 1-3 per Football Outsiders,
they had a 12%.
Dave, this is the last time I want to hear the word playoffs roll through your lips.
I am so fucking glad Ted Glover is on our show. I love it, man. I love it.
Have a 15% chance of making a wild card. That was at 1-3. They're now 1-4. So you, Flip, me, Drew, and 7 other guys got a better chance of making the friggin' playoffs wearing Vikings jerseys than the 53 sons of bitches wearing Viking purple and gold right now. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, and let's start doing draft stuff, Drew.
It's like...
You know what? We had the ball at the 6-yard line in a fucking rainstorm. And all we had to do was either get a yard or get a yard. There were 6-yard line, and all we had to do was get one fucking yard. The Vikings figured out a way to cheese dick the cheese dick.
The worst
part is cheese dick the game away. Unreal. Unreal.
I'm going to have
fun
editing
feeling
this.
So good at halftime. I was feeling so good. That's what pissed me the most about this. I was feeling so good. I was like, man, I'm proud of this young defense. That's what I was saying. I was like, I'm proud of this young defense. I'm proud of Big Red James Lynch. I'm proud of Eric Wilson. That's how I was feeling.
Oh, Wilson had a game.
You know, I'm proud of Irv Smith finally making some plays. I'm proud of Mike Zimmer just out coaching Brian Schottenheimer in that first half. I was real proud, and we just started feeling ourselves too much. Every time Chad Beebe catches a pass, an angel loses its wings.
Or a doctor gets his medical license.
Yeah. Or Odin freaking sheds a tear. Like,
and he even on one punt return, he didn't fair catch it.
That's all I want. All I want is our best players. I want 20 targets a game for Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. That's all I'm asking for, man. I'm asking for Kirk Cousins. Don't throw an interception. That's all I want. Is that asking too much?
You know, Flip. Honestly, you bring up a good point about getting the ball into the hands of your playmakers, and the Vikings, for whatever reason, you know, you talk about this fly route to Ham down on the goal line. You talk about running to the right side of the line with Madison over Drew Samia. It feels like, and then you see Mike Zimmer, when he's calling the defense, leaving guys like Cam Dantzler out on an island on fourth down, and it's fourth and 15. It was a huge distance. And in the first half, the Vikings were doing a hell of a job playing solid cover 2, not giving up anything deep. And it just seems like when the Vikings are in really critical moments of the game, whether it's on offense or defense, they're not, the coaching staff is not scheming the players in a position to succeed. They're making it a lot harder for the players to have a successful down, whether it's on offense or defense. And they did a good job of that in the first half, I thought. And we saw the results. Yet in the second half, when they came out, it's like they just completely forgot everything they did well in the first half and did not put the players in a position to succeed. And that was probably the most frustrating thing I've seen with this team over the last 2 or 3 years, for the most part. When they lose, when they win, they do a really good job of getting everybody on the same page and, you know, playing a good football game. But when they don't, man, they just, you know, it's not like a guy's wide open and he drops a pass, and you really can't blame that on the coaches because they schemed the dude open, or there was a big hole in when they're running the ball and the back just didn't see it and shot to the outside. They're not even giving the players an opportunity to succeed. And that's what's the most frustrating thing for me.
I can't disagree with any of that. I always go back to Grant said that games come down to a handful of plays. And I got to tell you, that Tennessee game, we got the kickoff with 1:40 left. We got a personal foul penalty. We had it on our own 40-yard line. We needed to get 25 yards in 1:40 to win that game with a field goal attempt. We didn't do it. Nope. This game, we had this game in the bag, a matter of one play. So there's 2 wins on 2 plays. So part of me thinks, you know, sure, we're 1-4, but the other part of me thinks, why the hell is this team not 3-2? I mean, they obviously should be 3-2. It's 2 critical plays. I mean, that drive against Tennessee, give Russell Wilson the ball with 1:40 left. They needed a field goal. That was simple football 101 to win that game. They should have won that game. Tonight, they gave the game to Seattle. Seattle didn't win that game. They gave it to them. So
Drew, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree.
How bad are the Vikings when it comes down to a couple plays make the difference of a 3 record? Let's look at it realistically. How bad is this team? Are they 1-4?
Yes, they're 1-4, and here's why. And here's where I disagree with you. It's because we can talk about this game and we can talk about the Seahawks when it comes to the 1-4 record, but the big issue is not week 4 and week 5 or week 3 and week 5. The big issue is week 1 and week 2. You basically threw 2 games away. You weren't prepared, and you just, if we're competing every week, then sure, we can be 2-3 or we can be 3-2. But when you're just automatically just going to throw 2 losses into the pan, that's unacceptable, and that's why this team is 1-4.
I will concede to that explanation. I agree with that.
And it's,
as Bill Parcells has famously said, you are what your record says you are. I am so sick. I am so friggin' sick and tired of these moral victories and but nothing. You're 1-4 because your defense choked off this game, and your offense, like Drew said in the Tennessee game, minute 40 to go 25 yards to kick a game-winning field goal, and your $800 billion quarterback couldn't do it. No, you're 1-4 team for a reason, because you suck when it matters. You're absolutely damn right. Suck when it matters.
And every single person here, all 4 of us, when this team was 0-2, said that this looks like a 4-win team or a 5-win team. And guess what? It still does. I don't care about the last 3 weeks. This is a 4 or 5-win team. And if it's a 4 or 5-win team, we need to start asking ourselves the tough questions and not just saying, oh, maybe it'll get better sometime. No, we suck.
Yeah.
On top of that, good teams don't lose that Tennessee game, and good teams certainly don't lose tonight. The Vikings
show up every week.
The Vikings played well enough to win this game tonight, but they figured out the 1 in a million chance to lose it, and sure enough, they lost it. Good teams
the 1.1% chance to lose, the Vikings figure out how to do it.
Of course. It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
Hey,
it's ridiculous.
But it's not us that make the decisions, like I've said before. You got to convince the Wilfs. Ziggy and Mike.
Hey, if the Wilfs don't want to produce a winner.
Dave, give us an update. You haven't said much on this show. Let's hear what you think about all this shit.
I'm agreeing with you. Hey, if I had Mark and Ziggy on my cell phone tomorrow, we'd have a nice long discussion. I'd even buy them scotch over it.
And
I don't like scotch. What would you say?
I would say it's time. Because we've shown over and over again, like y'all have said, they find that little percentage, the only little bit that can cause them to lose the game, and that's what they find. And they've done it almost every single year, whether it be even 2017, going into Philly and not being prepared and then knowing that we've got to change shit up because Philly's going to look for this. They don't. They find that little percentage that can cause them to lose, and they go for it. And it's just like they don't do it consciously. Nobody wants to lose. But they're doing it. There's nothing there to go, well, at least not that we're aware of, unless there's some conspiracy theory that they actually
Let me make it simple. Let me make it simple. I've got my next coach picked out. I've got my next GM picked out. I've got my next quarterback picked out. I suggest all Vikings fans start doing the same. Let's start talking about it because that's where this is headed.
Okay.
I agree with that, but I keep looking back to this game, and I know Ted said the defense blew chunks in that last drive, and I can't really argue that. But throughout the course of this game, the Vikings defense played their ass off. They played well enough.
They even did on the last drive, but they'd lose it on the fourth downs.
It's Kirk Cousins. Yeah. It's Kirk Cousins,
which I said before I came here.
But I think the bigger picture. I think the bigger picture, even more than this game, is the Vikings culture is prone to lose. They have a losing culture. They don't have a winning culture.
Oh, they haven't got the mentality.
Kirk Cousins.
I want to answer Alex Martinez.
Let's go
about Alex. Hey, wait, Alex is not only the best sports website designer in the fucking nation, he's in my fantasy football league. Alex Martinez, what up, dog?
He says, if the Vikes get a high draft pick, what are the odds Spielman trades down? Alex, I'm hoping if we get a high draft pick, Spielman isn't there to select to trade down. Because my opinion is Spielman hasn't done squat since 2015.
Yeah. Spielman won't be the
Spielman
won't be the GM
tomorrow.
Spielman won't be the GM if they're having a high draft pick.
Yeah, if they got a high draft pick, it's not going to be Spielman. They're going to have a whole new regime. It's going to be George Payton, the GM, with Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, drafting either Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. And
or
then
Trey Lance.
And then I'll tell you what, boys. Let's party. Let's get on that Super Bowl train and start going choo-choo because we're heading there.
Let's go with the purple Buckeye, baby.
I don't want to seem like the downer of the grid. It feels bad losing this fucking game for Zimmer, though, doesn't it? I mean, he had it. He had the game. He had it.
If I'm Mike Zimmer, I'm honestly like...
He played the fucking first half perfectly. 2 scoring drives that ate up 16 minutes and 25 seconds. It was brilliant. It was perfectly done.
Well, let me ask you guys.
The meltdown in the third quarter, and then I think what I'm sick of is getting so close and then feeling in my soul. I knew we were going to lose that fucking game when Madison didn't make it. I knew it. And I shouldn't feel that way.
Bad game? Which Vikings players had a bad game tonight?
Samia, number 1.
Drew Samia had a terrible game.
Okay. Who else?
Kirk, kind of iffy. I mean, he had a couple good moments, but he had the 2 big turnovers. So, I mean, I can go either way on Cousins.
Okay, who else?
All offense, not defense.
There were some drop passes.
Kyle Rudolph was pretty much invisible.
Okay.
He had 1 catch.
We'll give you Kyle.
Just
but
off the top of my
Irv
head,
Smith had a couple catches.
Irv had best game of the year, I think. Anyway,
but that's my point. It's like
what's your point?
Only 3 Vikings played badly. Only 3.
Right.
So if I'm Mike Zimmer, I'm looking at those 3 players. I'm sorry.
See, here's the thing. You know, Drew, you said you feel bad for Mike Zimmer. No, I don't, because.
No, you know what? Maybe I should rephrase that. You know me, I've been a big Zimmer. I rip Zimmer a lot, but I feel like he finally has a chance to win a big game on the road, and it comes down to this fucked up call Kubiak makes, and it's like, damn, dude, you came so close, but I'm not giving him a pass for that.
I'll take this defensive performance every week. Every week.
I mean, Eric Wilson, has there been a better game that Eric Wilson played for the Minnesota Vikings in this game? Ever?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I'll take this defensive performance.
But wait, go ahead. Finish your point, Ted. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But, I mean, my thing is, how many times over the course of, 6 years and 5 games now or whatever it is with Mike Zimmer that we've seen this? We've seen – and you know, this goes farther back than Zimmer. You talk about, Drew, you guys have all talked about the culture that other than the Super Bowls in the 70s, because the 70s were like the Vikings won every week, and other than the Super Bowls, they won in the playoffs until they got to the Super Bowl. This team from the 80s on has been a culture of losing and figuring out ways to not win football games. And Mike Zimmer has taken that and has, I don't want to say invented new ways because we've seen it all, but he's not changed it. And I would argue it's getting worse. So no, I don't feel bad for Mike Zimmer because the defense gives up long drives to lose games. The offense can't go 40 yards in a minute and a half to kick a field goal to win. The roster they've constructed is pretty terrible once you get past the frontline starters. I mean, we've seen this game, we've seen this song and dance for years. So no, I don't feel bad for Mike Zimmer. I don't.
But what I just can't stand about this conversation is specifically looking at this game. The Seahawks gained 40 yards and scored 14 points off of 40 yards. And it's because Zimmer, so from Zimmer's perspective, let's be honest, he's a defensive guy. He's always delegated the offense to somebody else. So Zimmer comes out of halftime. His team his defense has pitched a shutout. And then all of a sudden, you're asking his defense to stop Russell Wilson on their own 15-yard line. And then the next drive after that, you're asking your defense to stop Russell Wilson on their own 30-yard line. It's like ridiculous what we asked from our defense in this game, even though they played well. And like that 97-yard drive at the end, it stings a lot. And Zimmer's got to be better there. But none of that even happens if we can just get an offense that doesn't turn the ball over. I tell David every week, all I want from Kirk is no turnovers. That's all I want.
Yeah. I'll give you the 15-yard touchdown, that first one. That second one, the Vikings just kind of rolled over. That was like one play. It was like a 30-yard run by Carson, right?
Yeah, they were defeated because they knew their quarterback sucked.
I mean, in years past, I will say, and this is just kind of my argument, that the Vikings did a very good job in situations like that defensively of not giving up a touchdown and a lot of times holding the opponent to a field goal. And they're not even doing that now. I mean, you're right. I absolutely agree that the Vikings defense was put in a horrible position on back-to-back possessions because Kirk Cousins turned the ball over, and that's a thing with him. It just is. But I would argue on that second possession, they could have come up and maybe bowed up a little bit and held the Seahawks to a field goal, and we'd be talking about a different game. But again, we're 1-4. You are what your record says you are.
It's so good to have you on, Ted. It's so good to have you on, buddy.
I'm going to ask for the show of hands again. And I'm going to make one last point and then turn it back over to Dave. How many people are surprised that Russell Wilson drove the field and beat us?
You asked that already. None of us.
Did I ask that already?
Yeah.
I did.
It's the difference.
I think I asked it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a difference of a quarterback. I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
How many? 100%. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
What have I preached? You need that elite quarterback with the it factor. Period.
My question really was, how many times have you seen Russell Wilson do that? Russell Wilson did what he did. He did what he always does.
That's Russell Wilson.
That's the difference.
He's the number 2 quarterback.
We need a Russell Wilson!
Yes! I've said that for years. And I said it when we brought in Kirk Cousins. He was not the guy.
Bud Grant stood on the table and said he's the closest thing to Fran Tarkenton that I've seen in my lifetime since Fran Tarkenton retired.
As of Russ Wilson.
What the fuck does Bud Grant know? Don't listen to him.
Anyways,
the young kids played well tonight.
With that, we're going to wrap up the show.
Wait, before you end the show, I want to get a Flip and Ted. How long does Zimmer make it through the season? I want to hear it from these guys.
Go ahead, Flip.
Next game is Atlanta at home. If we lose that game, you got to fire the guy. Okay? Then we go into the bye week, and then we come out of the bye, and we play Green Bay in Green Bay. Get it done, Mike Zimmer. When's the last time you beat the Packers, Mike Zimmer? So I'm looking at the Falcons game. If you lose that game, you're gone. I'm looking at the Packers game. If you lose that game, we got to have a conversation. We got to start having some hard conversations if we lose to the Packers again. And then, I think the schedule eases up a little. But when you talk about if Mike Zimmer makes it through the season, it's about the next 3 weeks, y'all.
Okay. Ted?
Does Mike Zimmer last the season? No. When will he get fired? That's hard to say. I mean, Flip brings up good points. If you're going to make a change, it would seem during the bye week would be the optimal time to do it. But if, like you said, if the Vikings beat Atlanta, you can't really fire the dude. No, I mean, this is. This season's a train wreck. I mean, I think it's to the point where it doesn't matter when you fire Mike Zimmer, because barring a complete 180-degree turnaround, which I don't think anyone realistically thinks is going to happen, except our vaunted fearless leader David Stefano. who's still screaming playoffs.
Hey, you know, if I were the Wilfs, I'd be on the flight back to Minneapolis right now, and I would say,
drunk
my team is 1-4. I'm done with this coach. I don't think he can lead us to a Super Bowl. I know this isn't his best effort, but I'm looking at the ceiling. I don't think he can lead us to a Super Bowl. If I fire him right now, if I fire him Monday morning, October 12th, then I've got the interim coach up for an easy game in Atlanta, and then I've got the interim coach leading into a bye week. It's a pretty good time to fire the guy right now.
I kind of want to – I mean, if they're going to fire the dude, I'd like to see it soon because I want to see an interim bowl. I mean, because the Falcons just canned the Falcons just canned Quinn, right? Who's their interim coach?
Who's the Vikings interim coach?
Texans
it's going to be
interim is
Kubiak.
Romeo Cornell. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Houston. He's in Houston.
Yeah. I don't know who. I haven't heard who.
I want an interim bowl, man.
JJ Watt is the.
I want to get Dave. Dave, give me your take on Zimmer. What do you think?
I don't think anything's happening till the end of the season.
Okay.
Because Dave has an undying belief in Mike Zimmer and his ability to turn this franchise around and make it to the playoffs.
I believe that the Wilfs are going to look at this as a fucked up season to start off with. It's the COVID season. There's a whole bunch of changes. They knew starting out that it was going to be a slow start. I think they're going to give. They let Spielman run the football side.
Hey,
right?
Tell that to the Browns.
I agree with you. I would have rather had Stefanski running this show right now and Zimmer down in Texas than what's happening now. Stefanski's what, 4-1?
No, but that's not my point. Is not Stefanski because we could have had him. My point is the Browns had a new coach, a dysfunctional team, and had to depend on new draft picks. They had to install a new offensive scheme, and they got all that done during a pandemic. So why can't we expect that to happen to Minnesota?
But I'm saying they were prepped ahead of time via Spielman, who runs, the football operations, not the organization.
Oh, fucking Spielman.
Not to mention Eric Sugarman apparently like libraries and medical institutes are calling Eric Sugarman to figure out how he's doing so well against COVID. So we can't use COVID as an excuse even. Like we apparently got the best COVID staff in the league.
But I'm saying it's up to the Wilfs. It's not up to us.
It's all COVID. Ted, it's COVID and Rick Spielman, Ted.
How is the rest of the NFL calling? How is the rest of the NFL calling Sugarman about protocol procedures for COVID because he caught COVID? How? How is that? How can you do that? How is that a thing?
But
sorry. This team is just sorry.
You asked what
the guy that's not supposed to get COVID into the facility for the rest of the team gets COVID. Stop it. Just stop it.
If they lose come next week, I can see clear the whole house.
Oh my God!
There's nobody left.
Canadian. We've got Carlton College calling Eric Sugarman to figure out how to beat COVID.
You know what?
We can't even win a fucking game.
There ain't nothing like in the raw with Ted Glover, man. Ted Glover, you fucking rock, dude.
How many more balls is Chad Beebe going to catch this year?
Five.
He's going to reach down and grab him. That's all he's got.
That's 5 more angels without wings.
You Zimmer in Wilf's office. What you got to understand, we've had a COVID outbreak.
Look at the Raiders. The Raiders are 3-2.
I'm just saying. I'm telling you what I think the bullshit fed to the Wilfs is.
The Wilfs, why do we think that the Wilfs are just these nice owners who don't want to shuffle the deck? They fired Mike Tice, no problem. They fired Leslie Frazier, no problem. If Zimmer sucks it, he's gone. He's gone.
The Wilfs literally fired Mike Tice before they put out a press release firing Mike Tice before they told Mike Tice they fired him.
They're cutthroat.
Read that response from Bakersfield Bell. She just wrote in. She just wrote a response. Robin Bell. Read it.
Which one? No
read
one
it
is surprised.
Read it on the air.
That one?
Read it on the air.
It's the
Robin
same
Bell.
excuse for Zim week after week. It's just the defense. He's the head coach. You can't have both. Pick a position, Zim. DC or HC. This is your job. You had one fucking job.
There we go.
That's a great.
You know what?
answer,
A lot of smart.
Hey,
we got a lot of smart. Robin, Bakersfield, thank you for the comment. We got a lot of smart Viking fans out there who want to give their 2 cents on everything, and I see a lot of comments coming up that we're sliding past.
Right.
I wouldn't mind hearing from some of them. Man, what a tough game to lose. What a fucking tough game. I'd rather lose 50-0 than lose like that.
I'm a believer in the Wilfs. You know, I grew up during the McCombs era.
Flip. Let me ask you something. What if they get toiled into the bullshit of COVID? We didn't have a good year, whatever. How do you expect the fan base to go forward with the Zimmer and Spielman regime heading into the offseason again? How do you expect me to connect on with that? I mean, come on, dude.
I don't expect it. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, my freshman year in college, I showed up at the dorm and, you know, kid from Minnesota, had my Vikings hat on, told everybody that I was a Vikings fan. And so a student came to me and she was like, "You're from Minnesota? I just met somebody from Minnesota who lives the floor above you." I was like, "Well, okay, I'm in college. I got to make my move here. Like this is how we do. This is how we do things."
Oh.
So I walk upstairs and I meet this girl from Minnesota, but I find out she's not from Minnesota. She's from Texas, and her grandfather owns the team.
No shit.
Wait. She was the granddaughter of Red McCombs?
Yep.
She was the granddaughter of Red McCombs. And
I think I remember you telling me this story. Yeah.
I turned around and I walked my ass out of her dorm room because I hated Red McCombs. I was like, I don't have the time for you.
Nice to meet you, but your grandpa's an asshole.
She was like, "Hey, you want to come to a game sometime?" I was like, "I don't have time to be watching a game with Red McCombs." I was like,
I totally would have done that. I would absolutely would have gone.
I know you would have, Ted. But my point is, Drew, I love the Wilfs. I trust that they'll make the right decision with the GM and the coach. If they don't, that'll hurt me. But I still believe in Ziggy Wilf and Mark Wilf.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
With that, we're going to wrap this up. Any more last words there, Flip? Besides belief in the Wilfs.
Ted, we got to get you on more, man.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's the take. That's the take of the night is having Ted. You know what? I'm making my stand right now. I am not doing another In the Raw without Ted Glover. I will resign.
I don't have the games on here every week, so I don't know.
I don't give a fuck. I will resign my position if you don't show up. I'm serious. This is my last show if you don't show up anymore. I'm putting you on the spot, man. We need you on
boys.
Ted Glover. Your takes are too good to pass up. We need you on the show. Come on,
nobody
man.
cares what I have to say.
Final words, Ted.
It's been a hell of a run, apparently. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All you had to do was pitch that fucking ball to Madison. Let him run to the perimeter. That's all you had to do. Simple. It's very simple. It's not. It's very, 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 very simple. Like Eddie playing Unchained or Eddie playing Eruption. It's very simple. It's just hammer-ons and pull-offs. Pitch it to Madison.
Here and a seal here.
Hey,
you know what? Hey,
when the game's on the line, you look at 73.
There's one guy out there. If you pitch it to Madison.
Yeah, Ron Yeri, maybe.
I'll take Hey, I'll take my chances with Madison on the edge against one defender rather than running them on that play that they did. One play. Come on, man.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We'll have the edited version with all the bleeps out tomorrow. And then next weekend, Saturday, we'll have your pregame show against the Falcons. And until then, as always, Skol Vikings! Have a great week.
Skol.
Thank you for watching or listening. As always, if you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. And if you're listening to the podcast, please rate us on your favorite aggregator. Skol, everybody.